After years of not seeing this guy, Akita Somegoro pops up to deliver a very intriguing rumor of a potential Demon Kingpin sister. Stay tuned as we deep dive into analyzing the significance of the incredible storytelling of Sword of the Demon Hunter, Episode 18, The Tea Time Conversation. From the broader themes to the symbolic significance of what represents the soul of life, this episode explores another side of life, of culture, that extends beyond the grave. As Somegoro comes to visit Jinya to enjoy a tea ceremony with and talk about ghosts and a potential blonde-headed demon. Also, please check out my main channel covering Frieren and Dan and check out my previous videos on the fragrant flower blooms with dignity, and of course, these past videos on Sword of the Demon Hunter. This episode starts off in KO Year 3, 1867, 3 years after the events of Genji Year 1, 1864, where Okada Kiichi, played by Zoro's VA, beat Jinya in a one-on-one duel. Fast forward to Heisei Year 21, 2009, it is revealed that Kiichi survived all of this time as well and is living quite a normal life as a store manager of the store that Himekawa Miyaka works at part-time. This is where we learn that Kaoru, who Jinya refers to as Asagao, seems to be someone from Jinya's past. Maybe it's someone that we already met. Please watch these past 2 videos as it perfectly defines the appeal of this anime. Akita Somegoro pops up at Jinya's home out of nowhere, and you know the years have blown by when characters start getting baggy eyes. The last time we seen Akita was during the Yuki no Nagori Sake incident. It was Ansei Year 3, 1856, when our boy Jinya had to yeet his own biological father. It has been roughly 12 whopping years since we've seen him, which means 3 years after the last episode, our Soba Naotsuka is at a big yikes. In the broader historical sense of KO Year 3, 1867, this is basically the end of the shogunate era. The shogun cedes his power back to the emperor, but still has some military influences. This is probably one of the wildest eras in Japan. Back to Akita, who is visually much older.
Bro, are you kidnapping the youth? It's my daughter, who I shared with my imaginary fake wife.
Oh my goodness, our little mohawk has grown up so much. Remember that our guy, Somegoro, hunts demons and spirits as an exorcist and has a wide range of abilities like summoning creatures and mind-inducing abilities, similar to Yunagi's illusionary ability of falsehood. Basically, he's a Tsukumogami user that can use spirits and turn people's emotions into demons. However, by trade, he makes widely renowned works of art. He brought along Natsume Tea Caddy for Jinya, who continues to explain that he can't quite sell it. Jinya explains that it is because it's likely a hydrangea. It's a flower that changes color depending on the soil it's grown in. People generally feel that this is a bad omen that symbolizes treachery and fickleness. One of the long-running themes, motifs, symbols of flowers or plants of some sort is once again being used to deliver an underlying understanding about the current plot. Like in the Unagi episode with the white powder 4 o'clock or nighttime beauty flower, which played alongside the themes of the story of the Uriko Hime and Amanajaku folklore, being that the Amanajaku is putting up a fake front to deceive because the flower is used like makeup. And like the previous episode, Ofu, bringing up the snow willow shrubs once again. These are the kind of plants that are resistant to harsh winters. It's a broad analogy that can be applied to many things in the story, but given Jinya's situation, the overall internal conflict in Japan, we can see what it might be in reference to as a deeper meaning. Somegoro doesn't want this nice piece of work to be useless, so he was hoping Jinya would be able to use it to make some tea, but both of them cannot. But you know who can do a tea ceremony? Soba Naotsuka and Ofu. Well, maybe not. Our little Nomari is such an innocent cutie that reminds him of his little sister before she turned into this. As Akita and Jinya walk to a shop, he points out that Soba Naotsuka might be able to perform the tea ceremony. But I guess things might be a bit complicated here. Suddenly, he points out the purpose of this anime. Life is complicated and things change over time, don't they? And he references something about hanami, like cherry blossoms to use as tea leaves to make tea. This confuses Jinya as they're not in season, but Akita has something up his sleeve. There is no actual hanami to be found, but Akita points out this beeswax made only from clay and fire with no glaze. Apparently, these beeswax made cups are great for making sake taste a bit smoother. Then he points out the katani ware founded by a goldsmith with a similar style to Akita or a similar taste, which are made to be more upscale and artistic like a painting on a dish. Somegoto points out how the rich history of these artifacts are quite immersive, that is giving Jinya a newfound appreciation for how they are made. But if you end up getting too deep, you might end up like this. There it is, the cherry blossom Akita was looking for in the Nabeshima ware. A plate designed with enamel cherry blossoms and brushwood fence. This is our great thematic juxtaposition between life and the world changing at a rapid pace. These Nabeshima ware plates are something that can last centuries, while life is fleeting. A great work of art can endure many lifetimes over. Finally, they make it to someone that can provide them with a tea ceremony in Murata. What is the tea ceremony? Elite respect, peace, harmony, and of course, living in the moment. This will take us on a succession of flashbacks that Kiyomasa warned Jinta in episode 14 about neglecting Suzune's feelings. This is building on top of the previous episode, where Jinya starts to realize that while having a sole purpose can be great, the other aspects of life, like friends, family, a daughter, are more than just baggage. In which these flashbacks tell us that Suzune, who was that baggage, he might have been able to care for her a bit more. With everyone feeling calm and at peace with Murata's tea, this takes Jinya back to the days before he got NTR'd. Life was simple as children jumping into clean water. Jinya continues to tease Akita that Murata calling him a good friend is quite a stretch because Murata and Jinya are basically besties. It's another love and respect moment between all the guys, which leads to another flashback of older Jinta and Suzune. Suzune sees an older Chitose while she is still small, and she ends up running away to Chitose's disappointment. There is a sense of shame and neglect to what Suzune's life is at this point, as we all know how this will end up boiling over. Since Somegoto is from the capital of Japan in Kyoto, Murata asks him about how things are going on there. This episode is currently 2 years before the Meiji Restoration, 1 year before Edo became Tokyo and the new capital of Japan. It's not a surprise that Murata's reaction and the hydrangeas flowers are shown after, because the era of the shogunate will soon be over. Murata's status as a samurai will soon be a life-changing one, especially at a later stage in life, echoing some of the themes of the story that you might have to change your purpose. Before Jinya and Somegoto leaves, Murata asks Jinya if they can spar a bit later on. This is likely Murata's preparation for whatever side he chooses to fight on before the shogun eventually loses his political power. Akita brings up a rumor that there has been an increase of demon problems, even in Kyoto. Most importantly, he brings up that it seems like there is actually like a kingpin working behind the scenes, or more like a queen pin. It's kind of crazy that our main villain of the story only really gets a mention. And besides the demon situation, now it's to this ghost situation. So it turns out the ghost problem was really a spirit that was attached to this hydrangea tea caddy, moving from one place to another, and Somegoto, realizing his position, he didn't want to abandon this. Instead of being so mean to the spirit, he basically befriended it and let it enjoy its time with himself and Jinya. And this right here is his final farewell to the spirit. And as he releases the spirit from the tea caddy, Jinya brings up of a guy that is a Tsukumogami shaman who can turn emotions of objects into demons. This is actually a particularly unique skill that maybe only Somegoto can do. Akita laughs it off as he tells Jinya that there are more ways than one to get rid of spirits. He says his official goodbyes and hints at maybe one day Jinya will visit him back in Kyoto with some tea and maybe some sake. This takes us back to the soba shop with old man Soba Natsuka still holding strong, and it looks like Nomari is a behaving, lovable daughter that thinks the soba is bland just like daddy. Ofu, like the rest of us, is worried this old man is close to croaking and should be taking things easier on himself, in which Jinya and everyone starts to realize the nature of a loving dad, doting over their precious child. It's a completely different experience in life that is actually quite fulfilling. The episode pretty much ends up with Jinya enjoying the baggage of life, as in reference to the previous episode. Go watch that video. Being a full-blown daddy, and unfortunately Ofu looks like she's never gonna get with her guy. These are the kind of episodes where I can see that's kind of boring as a standalone, but after a couple of episodes of breaking our hearts, blowing our minds at the end, and that bad taste of NTR in episode 14, I'll take it. These episodes really do come down to the deeper meanings of life. The last episode was about achieving a single purpose and how much baggage you will allow yourself to have that actually takes away from that single purpose, in which Jinya did give his answer in the future. It connects Murata's character to a major point where he's going to have to make a decision on what he wants to do in his life. His entire life, he was a samurai, but with the shogun losing its power, what will he do now? And you get Akita enjoying all the craftsmanship of all these artifacts, these things. That I love that right before that scene happened, he talked about how life is changing, but the craftsmanship of how these things were made, you know, they outlive a lot of people. So it does show like this contrast of life. And of course we have our hydrangea flower, I think that's how you say it. It's literally showing like a juxtaposition of life. There are going to be changes and people are really resistant to changes in life. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this episode of Sword of the Demon Hunter. What did I miss? What did you guys find interesting about this episode? And do me a favor, hit the like button for protecting our future. And subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com. Check out my previous videos and check out my main channel where I cover Dan and Free Run. And I appreciate you guys watching and I'll see you guys on the next video.